Are you sick of life-altering headaches and migraines that interfere with your already busy life? Well, if you're watching this, I have a sinking suspicion that you do. In this video, I want to cover 3 of the reasons why women tend to have migraines or headaches, in particular in perimenopause and through the menopause transition, and 3 things that you can do to improve your migraine status. If you're anything like my patients, this can really affect an already busy, hectic, and full life in your 40s and 50s. If you guys don't already know me, hi, I am Dr. Heather Hirsch. Welcome to my channel for the very best menopause advice here on YouTube. And thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. That tells YouTube and the algorithm in general that this channel here is one of the premier places for women who are searching for menopause advice around the globe. I love seeing this community build, and over on my Instagram account over here, you guys weighed in on this topic. I got so many comments and questions on migraines and headaches at midlife and menopause that I decided to do a whole video on it. So be sure to follow me over there because I really love to build that dialogue with you and hear what you guys want to know about. So I am the lead physician of the Menopause and Midlife Clinic at the Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, where I live and work. The best way to get direct medical advice is not through my videos. These are more for education and resources, but it is to see a NAMS or North American Menopause Society provider. And the way you can do that is by going to menopause.org and searching a provider. If you live in the Northeast area and you want to see me, yours truly, click the link below because you do not need a referral, and I am happy to see you in my clinic in Boston. I am also the course creator of an amazing reference for you. If you also are not near the Northeast and you'd love to see me, it's called The Complete Guide to Menopause. Everything you ever wanted to know that your doctors never told you. It is a jam-packed, several-hour-long course that feels like just a nice, long, lengthy, juicy conversation with me in the office. So you can also check that down in the link below. I also host my podcast, Women's Health by Heather Hirsch, which is an amazing other source of free resources for all things menopause, perimenopause, and hormones on the web. Okay, let's get into why you came here today, which is to learn the 3 reasons why women have much more of a migraine and headache type of disability, disorder, at midlife. There are a couple reasons why. Did you know that women get, on average, migraines or headaches on a 4-to-1 ratio compared to men? Yeah. Totally unfair, right? So let's go over the 3 things why women tend to have more headaches and migraines compared to men. Now, before we do, also, let's just talk about the difference between a migraine and a headache. Well, a migraine is kind of what you might already know, a really bad headache where you need to lay in a dark room because light or sound can really intensify the pain. Some women feel nauseous, some women have an aura before a migraine where they see stars or they have a strange smell or they know one is coming on, and these can last 24 to 48, even up to 72 hours. And that is particularly important because knowing if it's a migraine or versus a headache is really helpful in going about your diagnosis with your local clinician. Now, a headache is more what it sounds like. Use kind of tends to be frontal, maybe sort of at the end of the day, if you've had a long day, if you've had too much caffeine, if you've had too much sun exposure, and they can really also start to cause lots of problems because it's really hard to focus when you have a headache. So what is the 3 big reasons that women have more headaches and migraines than men? Well, the first is lifestyle. Yeah, you're probably not surprised to know that women tend to be the primary caregivers and the primary caretakers for everyone in the family and tend to put their own self-health and priorities lower on the list. So these can include things like not sleeping well, not eating well, not hydrating, and not exercising, basically just not maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Over time, that can really build upon the stress in your body, which can cause to having you have more headaches or migraines. I have a whole video here on why can't I sleep, and this has got a lot of good sleep hygiene tips that I would love for you to check out because sleep is so important. The second is tension. Women have a lot of tension in our bodies. Unlike men, at the point that we've gotten to in our 40s or 50s, we may have been pregnant, we may have held children, and that can shift our pelvis, our pelvic bones, the way we sit, and therefore it can affect our core, our back, our neck, our shoulders, and a lot of women can get tension headaches, which can also lead to migraines. A lot of this also has to do with sitting up and working on the computer and really just getting so much tension in our neck and shoulders. That can certainly bring on headaches. Now, not that men don't have these as well, but the way that women have adapted over our lifespan, from getting pregnant to carrying toddlers and carrying children and developing all sorts of terrible postures that we don't even know that we're doing, can really lead to the onset of tension type headaches or migraines. And the third big reason is hormones. Obviously, you guessed it. You probably knew I was going to talk about it. Hormones can play a really significant role in triggering headaches or migraines. And the most easiest way I can explain this without pulling out a little diagram and drawing it for you is by actually just using my finger. So our hormone levels go up and down every single month, and they go anywhere from about 50 to about 500. And at the highest, that's when we ovulate, and at the lowest, that's when we get our periods. Now, when that estrogen level decreases, a lot of times women's brain would much prefer a steady dose of estrogen, but that's not the way we're made, because we need to reproduce, and in order to reproduce, we need this up and down of our hormones that actually helps us release eggs and get pregnant. But when we're not trying to get pregnant, that downslide or that drop in estrogen level can certainly trigger a lot of symptoms. For many women, this is headaches and migraines. It's almost like that delta or that change in estrogen level certainly can bring on a headache or a migraine. Can also bring on other symptoms that might sound similar to PMS or premenstrual syndrome, like bloating, irritability, acne. And those are all really because of the changes in hormone levels. Now, when you get into perimenopause, these levels become a little bit sharper, and that can make that effect even stronger. That is often why women in their 40s or in perimenopause, the average age being about 47, start to experience more headaches or more migraines and tend to have this somewhat cyclic pattern. So if they do have this cyclic pattern where they're before periods or before menses, that is probably what we would call a menstrual migraine or menstrual headache. And it's really important to know. So I want to know, drop a comment below. Have you noticed a worsening or an increase in frequency or severity of your headaches or migraines as you've gone into perimenopause and through the menopause transition, or even post-menopausally? Because some women, although more rare, have more headaches and migraines after a year of no periods. The majority of women tend to have them in that perimenopausal phase, that time leading up to the last menstrual period. So I want to know, did your migraines get worse, or did they get better at menopause, or vice versa? All right, in the next part here, I want to talk about 3 things that you can do to improve the landscape of your health and try to decrease migraines and headaches. Now, certainly, if these are really significant and really affecting your quality of life, and you are having more bad days than good days, I definitely recommend discussing this with your clinician or seeing a neurologist or migraine specialist, because there are so many new types of medications on the market for headaches and for migraines. There's also a lot of physical therapy and manipulation techniques that they can teach you that can really help you. And while I am not a bona fide neurologist, but merely a menopause doctor, I definitely think that, if you are experiencing a lot of symptoms, please seek help from your doctor or a local neurologist. But here are the things that you can do in the meantime. First, I always say this, it is not rocket science, but you need to journal and track. If you start journaling and tracking, you are going to come up with a couple of things. One, you're going to realize if there's any type of cyclic pattern to these. Now, of course, if there's a cyclic pattern, I mean, is there any type of pattern that you see? Is it every 2 weeks? Is it every 4 weeks? Is it right up to ovulation? Is it right before your period when those levels are shifting? Are there certain triggers that you notice? Is it foods? Is it lack of sleep? Is it caffeine? Is it alcohol? You can tend to see these things when you start to really journal and map it out much better than if you're just doing recall, which is just sort of guessing or thinking backwards. So grab a journal, one that you can see the month in 1 or 2 pages, and start tracking your migraines and headaches. You know, how often do they last, or how many days do they last rather? What tends to make them better? And again, noticing triggers that you might have. There's a couple other vitamins and supplements you can add into your lifestyle regimen that can really help, that I certainly recommend, that are safe for almost everyone to do. The first is to add nightly magnesium. Magnesium 250 to 500 milligrams. And the second is riboflavin, which is B6. And you want to take 50 milligrams of that, and you can take that with your magnesium at bedtime. For a lot of people, that combination can just kind of calm the brain, which can then help to hopefully reduce your number of headaches and migraines. The second thing in the lifestyle that you can also do is you can, if you think you have a lot of tension headaches, if you think it's from a lot of neck stress and strain, think about seeing a physical therapist for neck PT. They can give you all sorts of exercises that you can do to release the tension so that you can prevent or reduce the number and severity of those tension type headaches. Another thing you want to do is you do want to watch out that you're not taking too much non-steroidals or NSAIDs or Advil or Aleve. These medications constrict your vessels and then dilate. The constricting really helps, but then they rebound and dilate. So you can get rebound headaches or potentially rebound migraines, but mostly rebound headaches if you are overusing these type of NSAID medications. So be sure you are also getting really good hydration. No one drinks enough water. Please drink more water, and that you're getting good sleep. Big point number 2 is that there are certain abortant type of medications. If you are really having a migraine, which is that I gotta lay in a dark room, I have to lay in my bed, I have to turn the lights off, I can't hear any sounds, one whiff of something makes me feel absolutely nauseous, we really do want you to use an abortant type of medication, and that means it stops the migraine in its tracks. A really common name for this is Imitrex, which you may have heard of, or perhaps you know someone who has taken, and that is that classification of medications that simply stop the migraine really rather quickly. These are absolutely prescription medications, and there's different kinds of them, but why they're really important is it is not great to stick out a migraine. And here's why. When we look at MRI scans of women who've had long-standing or years worth of migraines that haven't been well treated, their brain almost looks like they've had little mini strokes. And that's just because of the reduced blood flow and vascularity that your brain gets during a really bad migraine. So we don't want you to stick out a migraine. Certainly why it's important to get the diagnosis of migraine versus headache, but really we want you to treat those. So if you have really severe migraines, I highly recommend you look into speaking with your doctor and talking about the abortant class of migraine medications. They're really vital to keep your brain happy, fresh, and healthy for the remainder of your numerous decades here on this earth. And the third and final thing you can do is you can actually, if you're interested in medications, there are some hormonal manipulations that I can do, or I've done for many of my patients who are interested or on that track, that can really help. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, first part of this video, a lot of menstrual migraines are triggered by that change in hormone level. It's usually that down slope. Sometimes it's the up slope if you are the kind of woman that gets those headaches or migraines right up before you ovulate. So there's 2 big ways that we can manipulate this. The first thing that you can do is you can try to use birth control pills to override the system. Now, the nice thing about birth control pills is in each pill is a combination of estrogen and progesterone. When you take that estrogen and progesterone every single day on a continuous basis, which means do not take the placebo pills, throw that pack away and start a new one, you are overriding that up and down system. And so that's a really nice way that you can help to control the migraines that are menstrual migraines, when you journal and track and you find there's a really strong cyclic pattern, the use of birth control pills are really helpful. Now, I hate that name because it really sort of brings women down to their ability to reproduce, but I use birth control pills, or what I call a continuous estrogen progesterone tab, for numerous reasons, including menstrual migraines and other things like severe PMS, acne, as well as contraception. So don't think about them as just being for contraception. Now, if you have some PTSD, you remember using birth control pills in the past, you know, a lot of times now we can find a really low dose estrogen progesterone combination that actually works quite nicely. If you still cannot get over the fact you've tried birth control pills before, you didn't like them, then you can use another trick of mine, which is to use a postmenopausal estrogen patch the week before your period, particularly when your menstrual migraines are, you know, in that cyclic pattern that week before your period. What I do with my patients is, whether they're menopausal or perimenopausal, and actually the majority of the time they're perimenopausal, is I take that postmenopausal estrogen patch, have them slap it on the week before their period, and they find that that can cover their menstrual migraines and they have much less flares and triggers. Sometimes women like this so much, or their periods start to become really wonky, or they don't know when they're going to have that menstrual migraine because their periods are so spread out. Sometimes they just wear this patch on a continuous basis. Yes, even if you're perimenopausal, you can still use postmenopausal hormone therapy in perimenopause. That's a huge myth. And sometimes just that low dose of estrogen from a postmenopausal dose, again, it's lower than what's in birth control pills, but sometimes that low dose just kind of helps to buffer those ups and downs. So instead of those harsh swings, it's just a little bit smoother on your way through the menopause transition. These menstrual migraines, for the most part, tend to sort of quiet down at menopause, because at menopause, you really just have a flat line of nearly, no or very, very little estrogen. And so it's no longer probably a hormonal issue because your hormones are not swinging. Migraines or headaches postmenopausal may certainly be other etiologies, whether it's neurological, whether it's lifestyle, or whether it's tension. You definitely then want to seek help from your local doctor to see what the cause of your headache or migraine can be. Okay guys, I know that was a whirlwind trip down migraine lane, but I really hope that was helpful, since so many of you asked about it, and it is a really confusing topic. And it is really interesting to see that migraines kind of tend to worsen in this perimenopausal stage. And if it's not migraines, sometimes it's just dang headaches, and there's so many reasons why. So I do hope you like this. Please give this video a like and a thumbs up, and comment below if you like this video and if you found it helpful. I love your suggestions and comments and feedback on all of my videos. So thank you guys so much, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel here. I really, really appreciate it. I've got some exciting news. My family is renovating our attic space, and I'm hoping to build a new little YouTube studio up there / office. So hopefully I can move to a little bit of a more exciting space with some more fun stuff in the background, and hopefully my dog, who barks through the majority of my videos, may be a little bit quieter. I'm sorry if she bugs you. There is nothing I can do to get this Great Pyrenees to stop barking, and I try every trick in the book. So again, if you guys want to take a deeper dive into all things menopause with me, please check out my course or download my free menopause guidebook as a way to get started. It is really my mission to provide education and resources to women like you watching on YouTube, because we do not do enough to teach women about the most important transition in our lives, which is not puberty, it is the menopause transition. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to almost having 3,000 subscribers here over on my YouTube channel. I am blessed that I get to do this every single week, and please stick around, watch another video of mine, or I will see you next week when new videos come out on Friday. Bye guys, thank you so much.